Hi, welcome to this Corbettmaths video on ratio, and we're going to look at a particular type of ratio question today, and that is how to solve ratio questions where we've been given the difference between the two values in the ratio. So let's have a look at a typical question. Beth and Emily share money in the ratio of 3 to 5. So that means for every £3 Beth receives, Emily receives £5. And then it goes on to say Emily receives £12 more than Beth. So in other words, because it's £12 more than, that's the difference between them is £12. So we know it's a difference type of ratio question. And it says how much money does each girl receive? So there's three ways which we can do this. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve it the long way. So that means that for every £3 Beth receives, Emily receives £5. I'm just going to carry on that pattern until I find a certain pair of numbers that have got a difference of 12 between them. So Beth receives £3, Emily receives £5. The difference is only £2, so we need to keep on going. So another £3 and another £5. So that means the difference is now 4. Let's keep on going. Another £3, another £5. The difference is 6. Let's keep on going. 12 and 20. The difference is 8. 15 and 25. The difference is 10, and if we add on another 3 and another 5, we're going to get 18 and 30, and so that those two numbers have got a difference of 12, so that means that Beth would receive £18 and Emily would receive £30. So that's a pair of numbers that are in the ratio of 3 to 5 and where one value is 12 more than the other. So that's one way to solve this type of question. The only disadvantage to that is sometimes it could go on quite a long time, and it's useful to have a sort of a quicker technique to solve it. Okay, the next way I'm going to approach this question is by using diagrams to help me. Okay, so the question says Beth and Emily share money in the ratio of 3 to 5. So I've drawn a picture here where Beth has got 3 parts, 1, 2, 3, and Emily has received 5 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what we know is the difference between them is £12. So we know that this bit, the difference between them, would be equal to £12. And what we need to do is we need to use that bit of information to then work out how much each girl receives. So as you can see, the difference between them is 2 parts, and that's £12. So that means that each part is going to be equal to £6. So that means that if I write in here £6 into all of these and £6 into each of these, we can then solve it. So we've got Emily has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots of £6. So 5 lots of £6 would be £30 for Emily. And for Beth, 1, 2, 3. So 3 times 6 is equal to £18. So again, we've got the same answer. We've just used the diagram to help us. And sometimes a little diagram like that can be really useful. Okay, and the last way is without a diagram and just reading the question and working it out. So Beth and Emily share money in the ratio of 3 to 5. So that means that Beth receives 3 parts and Emily receives 5 parts. And as we know, Emily receives £12 more than Beth. How much money does each girl receive? So this is the difference between them. Now normally in a ratio question where you're sharing out the total, you'd add together the parts in the ratio. But because in this question we've been given the difference between them, we're going to take away the parts in the ratio. So we're going to do 5 take away 3 is equal to 2 parts. So the difference between them is 2 parts. And we know that 2 parts is equal to 12. So we're going to divide the 12 by 2. So 12 divided by 2 is equal to 6. So we know the £6 in one part, and now we just times both of the numbers in the ratio by 6. 6 times 3, well 6 times 3 is equal to £18. And 5 times 6, well 6 times 5 is equal to £30. And that's it. So you can solve this question either by making the list, by drawing a diagram, or by just knowing that it's a difference between them, so we can take away the values in the ratio, we can divide the difference by that answer, and then just times both numbers in the ratio by that number to get then the value of each number in the ratio. Okay, and let's have a look at another question. So we're going to do the same question again, and we're going to use the 3 techniques again. So we've got Josh's age to Sam's age. The ratio of Josh's age to Sam's age is 7 to 3. Josh is 28 years older than Sam. So again, we know the difference between them is 28. And the question says, how old is Sam? So we're going to write Josh, and we're going to write Sam, and we're going to write down the multiples of 7 and 3. So we're going to say for every 7 years, 3 years, another 7 years, another 3 years. And we're looking for a difference of 28 here. So another 7 years, another 3 years. Still not big enough. Another 7 years, another 3 years, another 7 years, another 3 years. Now we've only got a difference of 20 now, so we need to keep on going. So another 7 years, another 3 years. The difference now is 24. 4, another 7, and another 3 is equal to 49 and 21, and that has got a difference of 28. As you can see, that's quite time consuming. So how old is Sam? Sam is 21. That's one technique. Now let's have a look at using the diagrams. We know that the ratio of Josh's age to Sam's age is 7 to 3. So I've written out, so I've drawn 7 rectangles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for Josh, and 3 for Sam, 1, 2, 3. And we know that the difference between them is 28. So we know that this difference here is equal to 28 years. And it's 4 equal sized rectangles. So if we do 28 divided by 4, we're going to find the size, or like the value for each rectangle. So 28 divided by 4 is 7. So each rectangle is 7 years. So we can just fill those in. 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Oh, just put a random 2 in the end there. 7, 7, and 7. And the question said, how old is Sam? Well, Sam is 7, 14, 21. And that's it. So those diagrams are really useful. Or our last way of doing it is to look at the ratio and say, well, it's the question says Josh's age to Sam's age is 7 to 3, and Josh is 28 years older. So we know that the difference between them is 28 years. So if we take away the values in the ratio, 7 take away 3 is 4. We do 28 divided by 4, and that will tell us how many years are in one part, which is 7 years, and then just times both of the numbers in the ratio by 7. 7 times 7 is 49, and 7 times 3 is equal to 21. So we know that Josh is equal to 49, and we know that Sam is equal to 21. And the question says, how old is Sam? And the answer is 21. So that type of ratio question of the, where we're given the difference, it's one where I always find that students sometimes struggle with. But actually, there's 3 really great techniques. One, list them. If in doubt, list them out. That's quite good, actually. Next is to draw the little rectangles and to work out what the difference is, and to work out this, the value of each rectangle and work it out that way. Or the other one is, rather than sort of adding the values in the ratio, if you're given the total, because it's the difference, you would take them away, divide the difference by that number, and then just times both numbers in the ratio by that. That's it.